Okay, here is cousin Andrew, and I'm recording this as the truck as we're driving to Kentucky, so if you can hear some highway traffic noise, I apologize. So I rode Andrew this morning out in the field, and I have to say that this horse has just sort of like rocketed his way up my favorite ladder of horses. He was incredible, and it's honestly amazing how much he has settled into life since coming off the track in the last couple of rides. We videoed his first post track ride, for which he was absolutely excellent. I had zero complaints about him. But, and you know, you just never necessarily know how much more they will settle or what's to come. The amount that this horse has relaxed and just, I mean, today he just felt like, just a horse that you could put anybody on. And he was just soft and steady and nothing bothered him. And traffic is whizzing by. We're out in a big field. He's never been ridden out in any field that I'm aware of. Certainly not out in any of my fields or by me. And he was just the most steady Eddie Packer type horse ever. It was just unbelievable. Obviously he's not a Packer. This is just his third post track ride, but he felt like one and he went like one and he was just so soft and relaxed, and the shape that this horse makes when he is soft and relaxed is just incredible. He was so light in my hand. I mean, literally, it was like, I don't know, just like the pressure of like a feather in your hand, how soft he was. He went beautifully to the left and to the right. He did all sorts of big shapes out in the field, changes of direction. He did a really nice and improved right lead canter. He got his left lead canter over a log, which he did really cute. He was just incredible. I'm really blown away by him. So I just think so. I thought he was a nice horse before. I don't want to like make it sound like I rode him and I didn't like him. I did like him after the first time I rode him, but after my ride on him today, I actually just think he's really something special. And for somebody who wants a horse that's just, obviously he is relatively green because he's just off the track, but he's not green in terms of the amount of life experience and exposure he has. And he just wants to be somebody's Packer. I mean, that is what he's going to be in a very short amount of time. I mean, look at the shape that this horse is making. It's just so beautiful. And he is so light and soft in the contact. It's taking so little effort from me, really no effort at all, to produce the shape or this tempo, which just feels so nicely self-regulated. And he's even looking for the stretch, and he just felt brilliant. I'm so happy with him, and I guess more than happy with him, I'm just so impressed by him. So this is his third post-track ride, I believe, if I'm counting correctly. Third or fourth, one of those two. So, just a handful of rides since coming off the track. One big life change that he has had, though, is that I turned him out in the big front field with Cowboy and Cardinal, who actually you can see there in the background. And him and Cardinal just immediately became two peas in a pod, and they are so adorable together. And they just have this continuous sort of low key game of halter tag going on at all times. And it's really cute to watch them. And Andrew's really super happy out in that setting. So he's living out with his little group. Um, big field turnout 24/7 right now, actually, because the weather has sort of it's cooled off a little bit. It's been really nice, so he's been able to live out with his friends, and he's super happy in that setting. And no doubt that's part of the reason why he's going so beautifully right now, is because he's so happy in his sort of turnout and living situation. So Andrew is very much your typical right off the track thoroughbred, in the sense that he finds the left bend is coming a little bit more easy to him right now than the right. But I have to say I'm super happy with all the work he did to the right. This here felt absolutely lovely. He's wrapped around my inside leg. I'm doing very little of any work for it at all. So he's evening up really quickly. Absolutely love the shape that he's making here. He was so good about the traffic going by. That truck is probably going like somewhere between 50 and 60 miles an hour, and it's 10 feet away from us, and he just doesn't even, blink an eye at it. And again, a really nice change of bend. He's just being super, super rideable, really straight, and on the aids. And I love his expression. He looks interested and relaxed at the same time. So for the canter work, he's funny because he does find the left in general easier right now. However, for whatever reason, only Andrew can tell us this, and he's not going to right now. He finds the right lead actually that's the lead that he wants to pick up. He wants to step into the right lead, even though he actually finds the left easier. So it's just funny. I mean, who knows? They all have their funny little idiosyncrasies like that. So we were going to the left, and I would prefer if he wanted to canter left first because he does find that bend and that balance a little easier right now. But nope, he wants to step into the right, which is fine. And actually, I was happy with it because even though he picked up the right lead, we're not really at the point yet where I'm working on the leads yet. We're trying to establish all the other things. First ride in the field, I want straightness and relaxation above anything else. But he actually did a really nice canter transition, even though it wasn't exactly the lead that I wanted. So we just did a little cut across the field and went to the right. And there, what you saw was literally his only hiccup the entire ride. We had a little steering snafu with turning to the right, and then he spooked at something in the grass. I don't even know what it was. But literally, I mean, I rode him out in the field for like 15 minutes, and that was it. He had one little teeny tiny spook. That's the only thing I can hold against him, which I'm not going to. That was totally acceptable, and any horse can have a little spook on any day at anything. So that was that was the wild side of Andrew. So as this canter set to the right goes on, he actually really does straighten out quite a bit. You could see a little bit when we first picked up the right canter of him wanting to lean on that inside shoulder a little bit. But actually, as we're going here and he's relaxing more and more into it, he actually really straightens out, and it felt really nice. This here felt quite good. I didn't feel like I was having to babysit that right shoulder so much. So we took a little walk break. I was super, super happy with him. So to get the left, I thought we would just get it over a log, which we got it in the ring the other day over pole. So of course I knew we'd be able to get it over the log. Of course, I've not jumped him over anything. He's trotted over a couple of single ground poles, and that's it. So I wanted to walk over the log a couple of times before we came in the trot, just to make sure that he would think that was a cool thing to do and nothing to be stressed out about. Actually, he was super good about this. Just marched right over it. And I'm a little bit obsessive, so I had to do it twice to make sure that the first time wasn't just luck or coincidence. So after the second time, I was convinced. And then actually, I'm waving at my vet, who's actually pulling in, and Andrew needed a Coggins drawn. So I knew I was sort of thinking, we better get it and be quick because I need to go meet my vet. I didn't want to make her wait. Absolutely love his shape here. Nope, little trip, no problem. Still got the left lead. Very cute over his little log. And then right away in the left here, just such a lovely uphill soft shape. Super balanced and rhythmic within himself. And then this here felt just fantastic. Super here in the roundness. And then here, this short side of the field, this is kind of like the downhill grade part. So in the canter work, that can be a little bit hard for such a sort of green horse when you're asking them to carry themselves this way, but that was really excellent. And so then here, actually, I'm just stressing out the fact that I need to get back to the barn and not make my vet wait. So we do a trot transition, and Billy stops videoing, but we actually trotted all the way back to the barn, and he was